No, oh my God! One time we were arguing about Coldplay. That's what we were talking about with Coldplay. I was saying that they're not part of this generation. And like he was arguing that they are because their most successful album was Now. But there is no rock and roll generation of now. Like people are going to look back when they talk about Coldplay and they're going to look and say that they're from the post-grunge era, which was that late 90s, early 2000s. The only reason they're part of this generation is because they're leftovers. They kept going. Like, okay, Queen, for example, and then this is what he'll do when I start talking about other bands as an analogy. He'll say, we're not talking about that. So Queen were a 70s band. They lasted into the 90s. People look back and think of them as a 70s band. Yes, technically they were there for the early 90s, late 80s. But, holy fuck, man. Alright, shit. You know what? I realized I'm Ultimus Dempsey here. I gotta end it. I got to end it. Exactly. Thank you, Pugs. They were a 2070s band. Hold on. I'm about to leave real quick. Hold on. I'll be right there, Pugs. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was just arguing with somebody that it's just ridiculous. Like, he's the type of person that just wants to argue. He just wants to be right. He doesn't he won't if he has a differing opinion, he won't like come to a common ground. He just wants to be right.
That's exactly what my point is.
It's like it's so because we're arguing about GTA Online and Red Dead Online about why people still play GTA Online, and I'm saying a lot of people like the futuristic stuff because the whole way this stuff like this argument started is because we were talking about Red Dead Online and how dead it is, like, you know, and I was saying I would like to see them add stuff like, and I used the example like houses that are held up with hot air balloons. You know, because it's like it's futuristic and sci-fi, but it still fits with the theme of that era. Like if someone was to be in 1898 and to think about how will like we be flying in the future, they would think of something like that. With like, you know, stuff's going to be held up with hot air balloons, you know, we're going to have flying boats. And like you would imagine it to be with hot air balloons because engines and planes weren't invented yet. Right? So, and he's like saying that, you know, people don't like that. And I'm like, well, clearly they do because people still play GTA, which is a 6-year-old game. And then he's like saying that, you know, that it's because of the realistic stuff, not the futuristic stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, people do like that. But how many times do you go on GTA Online, you see people on their flying bikes and blah, 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 blah. A lot of people like that. All the fucking time. That's what. Oh, my bad, Pugs. My bad. All the time. That's what I was saying. And so I acknowledge his point that yeah, okay, people do like realistic stuff, but they also like the futuristic stuff. What he does is he doesn't want to like debate it. He doesn't want to like, you know, like really get to the, you know, whatever. So he will not acknowledge that people like the futuristic stuff just because he doesn't. I'm like, well, they clearly do because they still play GTA. Like, Rockstar would not be adding all that budget, all that manpower to GTA if people didn't still play it. Well, okay, why do they still play it? Because of that stuff. I mean, Red Dead Online, as of right now, is kind of a flop. People don't play it nearly as much as they play it. And he's like, so you're saying the way to do that is to add futuristic stuff? Well, I'm like, well, what else can you do? Everything would be futuristic in 1898. If you add cars that everybody has. That would be futuristic from 1898. What else can you do on Red Dead Online? What can you add that's not sci-fi-ish, futuristic? They pretty much already have everything you could have done. You know? And his solution was add mansions. Okay, cool. Okay, great. So once that novelty wears off, then what? People are going to stop playing it again. Because I was saying, like, how many people... I never played GTA for the house. I barely ever spend time in my house in GTA. It's the stuff you do outside of the house.
Yeah.
He just wants to argue. I'll argue all day too, but if you make a realistic point, I'll acknowledge it. And that's why I continue to argue with him, because he don't do that. You know? Like, if you make like I acknowledge your point. Yeah, people do like the realistic stuff. But when we're talking in terms of Red Dead, what else can they add, really? Like, yeah, you could add a mansion, okay. Now what?
I mean, sci-fi is kind of Rockstar's thing. Like in GTA
Exactly,
5,
dude.
like after the campaign, they had like aliens and
Exactly. That's what I was saying to him, and he's trying to tell me that that's not why people play. Like, well, yeah, it's not why people play it, but like, it's certainly why a lot of people play it. And I use the example of the flying bikes. And he's like, you know.
And that's why people don't
Hold
play
on.
GTA 5.
My bad, Pugs. I didn't mean to cut you off. I heard my mom screaming.
Oh. Yeah, like one reason that people don't play GTA Online is because of the flying bikes.
What'd you say?
One reason people don't play GTA Online is because of the flying bikes.
But like, I agree. A lot of people don't like that, but a lot of people play it because of that.
Yeah.
I do agree, but the reason people don't play because of the flying bikes is because it doesn't have to do with the flying bikes. It has to do with getting killed too easy.
Yeah.
Like if you get your own flying bike, then bang, you know?
Yeah.
And dude, I get that, and like that was his point. Like, because one time I came on when he had the new flying bike, and he was killing me with it, and I was like, dude, you can't kill me without your flying bike, and that was his point. Like, you know, and I said, yeah, but before the flying bikes, you couldn't kill me without your sniper. I was saying that too, and that's a realistic thing. It's not the what you're killing me with that pisses that I don't like. It's you killing me. Period. It has nothing to do with the flying bikes, like. But like, dude, people still play GTA Online for a reason. It's not because of the houses. It's not because, you know, Rockstar wouldn't keep updating it, especially for free. I didn't even say that. Like, they wouldn't. You get these updates for free if they weren't making money hand over fist, right? people wouldn't number one be updating it all the time, and they wouldn't be updating it for free. Like, they would take all those people. It's a business. It's still a business. They would take all that manpower, all that money, and they would put it to something else, such as Red Dead Online or whatever they got in development. It's like, oh, dude, I like, and this isn't even the first time, like, where we've argued about some stupid stuff. Like that Coldplay thing I was saying. We got into an argument because I was saying that Coldplay isn't part of this generation. Like, and then he was like, yeah, they are. Like, they had their most successful album. But, like, dude, that's only because that they're leftovers from the last gen. The only reason they're part of this generation is because they're leftovers from last generation. Like, so when I say that, I'm acknowledging that, okay, yeah, they are part of this generation, but that's only because they've hung around from last generation. He doesn't acknowledge the fact that they're from the last generation. Like, if you want to debate, great. Like, we could debate. Like, but if you want to argue just to be right because someone said something that you don't agree, so you got to prove that you're right. I can't stand that. That's sad, dude. He's gonna have a lot of trouble with his interpersonal relationships. All right, I don't know what you didn't get your PS Plus, did you, Pugs?
Not yet.
Not yet. And he's like trying to tell me that, oh, I see people all the time, like, and they're not doing that. I'm like, how do you know that? You're doing your thing. You don't follow every player around and see what they're doing all the time. You don't know that. And then he goes, well, you say, like, what people, and I'm like, well, I'm making a point that they still play it. I don't know, they whatever they play it for, they still play it. Otherwise they wouldn't update it constantly like they do. A 6-year-old game. What game came out in 2013 that people still play like that they still update constantly? Like, name another game. Like when did Minecraft come out? It came out a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's because people still play it. Right? Like if people don't, like, if they update something and people don't like it, people ain't gonna play it. So my point is that whatever Rockstar is doing, people like it. You know? I agree. Like, people played GTA before all this futuristic stuff, right? Like, people did play it. They like that, yeah, definitely. But if they started adding futuristic stuff and people didn't like it, don't you think they would stop playing it? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, like Red Dead needs something extra. You know, because you got your horse. It takes for like a long time to get around. So if you want to go kill somebody, you got to ride all the way to where they're at. You know?
But there's fast travel and stuff. You got that.
Yeah, you could do that. But I'm saying, like, they need to add something else. Like, yeah, it's alright to, like, it's fun to kill people, go around, but, like, the casual fan ain't gonna hang for that for too long. It's only the hardcore fans that are gonna stick around to do that. The people that, like, really love the game. You know? Yeah, I see you, dude. I'm just in the middle of talking to the person in the party with me. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, that's a good call. I am about to run some blood. So then I'll do some stuff like I'll be like, yeah, all right, whatever, dude, you're right. Nah. I mean, I'm a solo player, man. Sorry. Like, As a matter of fact, I think I'm about to go on BO3 instead, actually. So the broadcast is going to end, but I'm going to start up a new one.